Hello everyone and welcome back to another bite-sized adventure from Tamriel as we play Elder Scrolls Call to Arms on the channel again. This time going to a very lush, vibrant forest area to deal with a Spriggan matriarch. So trying out some new adversaries today, roughly 190 something of adventurers against, it's only about 150-ish of adversaries, in this case terrifying monsters that we'll talk about in a second. But they're going to be respawning using the same kind of thing we've done in the past few videos using event cards, so should still be a challenge. We haven't had much luck with the poor heroic sides in any of these, so let's see what fools are going up against the horrible monsters today. So we've got 4 models taking up the slots for just a band of adventurers and a housecarl that have teamed up to go deal with this threat because it's too close to a settlement, let's say. We have 2 heroic models on the left of your screen and then just 2 followers. The 2 followers are a Briton Ranger and Orc Barbarian. They don't have custom equipment, they have a stat card and are much easier to kill. Lydia, because she has the bodyguard rule, can't be the champion, so Kajaro is going to be, but Lydia is equipped with a banded iron shield, a orcish sword and studded armour. Kajaro is equipped with a potion of minor healing, and then he is decked out in steel. Steel armour, steel mace, and a steel shield. And to go into specifics about the adversaries, there's 3 normal Spriggans and 1 Spriggan matron. I called her matriarch by mistake before, I was thinking of Deathclaws. It is a Spriggan matron. Same essential kind of thing. Bigger, tougher, stronger version. That's the key target, kind of like the Frostbite, the giant Frostbite spider last time. But there's 3 normal Spriggans, and then we have the matron at the back there as part of this ruin, so they're just kind of congregating in. And at the end of every turn, any dead Spriggans will be respawned via event card. The rest of the event card will be ignored, but when the matron is killed, she stays dead, and that will mean minor victory as long as she dies. If we manage to get away and wipe out the rest of the Spriggans, who will stop respawning if the matron is dead, that is a complete victory. Based on how it went last time, I don't see that happening this time because, as I say, I keep on technically giving the adventurer side, or the heroic, the side I'm playing as, an advantage in terms of septum limits, and it never works out. It's just, the enemies just, they roll well, and it doesn't matter that there's a point discrepancy. But this could be the exception this time. Maybe they'll get perfect crits or whatever. We'll just have to see. So that's how they're going to win today. They'll be coming in to the bottom of your camera, down here, set up as always in that corner. And I think with that we're ready to get started. We're going to give it the usual number of turns, and we'll be back to get started after this quick word from my channel sponsor. This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. Check out the video description below for an affiliate link that will take you through to their store, and it will help me out as well. Thanks. So with that said, we are here ready to start. Here is the lineup of our adventurers, and it's 4 aside, so the adventurers will be going first, and let's get into that. The Briton Ranger got the game started, spending 1 stamina to sprint, a total of 9 inches behind that rock there. Then for her other action, hid. She's out of 6 inches and no line of sight can be drawn to her from that range, so she is now hiding, hoping to get a sniping shot in turn 2. So, a couple of things about Spriggans in general. They start the game invisible, or rather they are given the invisible keyword for round 1. They can't have line of sight drawn to them until they engage or attack at range, because they have a ranged attack. That would make them stop being invisible. Getting to round 2 also stops them being invisible. So right now they're all just kind of chilling, rolling for AI on the Spriggan card. One other thing to mention is that because they're all classed as monsters, they all technically have the terrifying rule, which would mean you need to pass a wisdom test to even engage with them. So because that sounds tedious for doing it for all of them, I'm only going to do it for the 2 followers rather. They're going to be kind of scared. They're not as seasoned as Kajaro and Lydia, so they will test for the Terrify if they get into close combat with any of them. But Lydia, Kajaro, they're made of sterner stuff, so I'm not going to do it for them. That isn't a rule that's in the game. That's a rule I'm using for this because it feels more apt rather. But just letting you know that. In terms of adversary activations, because of the point limit of I think 191, I went and double checked. 2 set activations barring any activations that are triggered by a reaction. So randomised between the normal Spriggans, the matron's not going to move until it's threatened, by which I mean someone crossing over the halfway mark or attacking it. and this one moved, and the AI matrix just selected movement, so it's not even trying to attack, so it's just getting into a better position. Again, can't be hurt this turn anyway, so it's perfectly safe. The Orcish Barbarian follower spent 1 stamina to do a little bit of extra sprint, so he moved 9 inches in total and has stopped up there by that rock, not doing anything else with his turn, so just ending it right there. So there's only going to be one more activation from the Spriggans, unless I somehow manage to get close enough to trigger a reaction or hit them at range. That's not going to happen. This is a very melee focused team, so it's going to be a quick turn 1. Well, as it turns out, we are going to get to roll some dice in turn 1, because the other Spriggan rolled on the AI matrix and it wants to be aggressive, and beasts, well, I presume they're counted as beasts as well as monsters, so they move 9. That puts him just within range 8, or her rather, to spit some poison, or throw a poison bomb at our Orcish Barbarian friend down there. It's got a 2-inch blast bubble, but it's not going to affect anyone else. It has the enchanted keyword, so you can't improve it further, and it has poison, so it can inflict poison to the health stat of the person it hits, if it hits. And to get that, they're rolling 1 green, 2 yellow, and are looking for a 3. So, let's see. That is a 6 that comes down by 1, and I don't think the helmet does anything for them. It does not, so luckily for the Orcish Barbarian it missed, because that would have been 2 damage, and I think the poison is just on it by default, yeah. So if you get damaged by it, you're poisoned, which is nasty, because we have no way to cure that except, well, Kajaro's got a health potion, but that's it. So that left Kajaro and Lydia, both of whom are just moving. They have no ranged options, as I previously said. They both spent 1 stamina to do a sprint and have ended up in the positions that you can see right there. So they're just getting into position for a brawl next turn. They do both have shields. I guess technically they could have thrown up blocks with their other actions, so there's no harm in doing that. So sure, might as well. The Orcish Barbarian does not have a shield because he's using a 2-handed axe. So sure, they might as well have done that. And as I said, there's been 2 activations for the adversaries, and there are no reactions because they're not close enough. So that ends their turn as well. So at the end of turn 1, there is no Spriggans dead, so there's no respawning to do. But just to show you how this is working, in case you haven't seen how we've been doing these bite-sized little adventures from Tamriel, we're just going by the number of enemy respawns. If we draw a card, we ignore everything else. So in this case, if there was more than 1 dead Spriggan, still only 1 would have come back. And the normal Spriggans only have 1 health, so they both start dying once they get engaged. But the poison is definitely going to be the scary part. On to round 2. So, round 2 got started with the Orcish Barbarian. I moved him into combat by sprinting, so he healed 1 stamina at the top of his turn. He's used it again. His big, massive 2-handed axe has the cumbersome keyword, so it would cost 2 stamina for him to do a boost in melee combat. I'm not going to do that. I do want him to kill the Spriggan. He just needs to get 1 damage through, and he's rolling a red and a yellow die with a green die thrown in. So he's got a traffic light going here, and he just needs to get 1 damage through. Now I've forgotten what he needs to roll, so I'm going to need to come around this end of the camera. Apologies. He is rolling a 4 or under. So, very possible. Just come this way slightly. 4 or under. Let's see it happen. Well, he got a 4 and it came down to a 1, and it hit for 3. I'm going to need to go back to the card now. Does the helmet add anything? It makes it bleed, but that's probably not going to matter. And Spriggans for armor roll red, which it can block all 3 actually. It blocked 2, 1 got through, and still killed it. Oh wait, would have had to have tested for Terrify. That's something I'm going to have to keep remembering. So he is dead as long as the Terrify test is passed. Is he close enough to use Kajaro's wisdom? No, so it would be his own. See, this is where it's going to start sucking, because his wisdom is... that's 4. It's very doable. Let's see. That would be a 6. So that means the engage didn't happen. So he stops outside of it, unfortunately. And that still got spent to go in there. So, unfortunately the attack didn't happen, and now he's going to get 2 reactions on him. See, this is why Terrify is kind of annoying. Well, here comes the pain. Before adversary activation happens, there's 2 of reaction activations. So this one already rolled Infinity Gate, Oblivion Gate means attack for Path of Shadow, so it's just going to spit poison from where he is, and that is a 5 that comes down to a 2, so this time it hits. The helmet adds nothing, so he is poisoned. 2 damage versus his armor roll of, he is rolling red as well. Let's see what works out better for him. I forgot to show you the dice, there they are. He blocked 1, the swords do nothing. So he took 1 damage and is poisoned so far. Let me just add those over there. And then the other Spriggan will just immediately roll for his AI matrix. triple damage pips. That's rolling, that's move, so he's going to move into combat. I'm going to take that as meaning, because why would he run away? They've got the advantage. So, more than enough movement to just go, hello. But they roll different dice for their melee attack. Their melee attack is... oh no, never mind, they roll precisely the same. It has the poison keyword, but only on a helmet. And on a melee attack, they are hitting on still 3s. Yep, they're 3s across the board actually. Normal Spriggans. And they got a 3 that came down to 0. 3 damage? Roll big on the defense roll, buddy. He blocked 2 and took another 1. He has 1 health left, which he's going to lose when his turn starts to the poison. That poor Orcish Barbarian has had a day of it. And now there's an actual enemy activation, because those were reactions. So the first actual adversary activation was the final Spriggan, because the matron is not activating and wants to attack. So it's moved into position, and that does put Lydia in range of its 8-inch ranged attack. So we'll put it over here and just bring the camera over here and roll some dice and see if she gets it. Lydia's just going to take the passive block and not spend the block token. And that is unfortunately a crit, which does not bode well for poor Lydia. Not much extra. So Lydia is rolling 1 yellow with 1 strong armor, and taking the passive from her shield is another yellow. So she's having to block 3, and she'll get an extra die here. I'm going to have to roll this because of dice used up. That's blocked 1. She blocked 2 and took 1, and is unfortunately poisoned. Anything extra from rolling helmets on the Spriggan? Not for a ranged attack. Yep, so 1 damage plus poison. This might end up being a horrific mistake, but with how things are going down there with all the Spriggans, I activated the Briton Ranger, had them sprint over here, and I'm going to have them take a short range shot, once I remove this dog here, there we go, at the matron. I need to start just trying to wound the primary target, because as it turns out, they're not going to do very well against the Spriggans because of the poison and being unable to heal that. So she sprinted, moved here, she has a sneak token, which means she's going to be getting an extra yellow die, and because I made sure she's within 10 inches, she's rolling a green and a red for a short range shot with her just default stats. I'm not sure what it classes her Boaz, but it's whatever the default is for her gear. And we're going to see what we can do. And yeah, just roll against her, but I need to check what she is rolling. She is hopefully rolling a 4 or less. Ooh, it's a 3 or less, that's not as good. There is the opportunity to add extra dice though, depending on results. Piercing on a helmet and an extra damage die on swords. That's a 9 that comes down to a 3. The helmet would have pierced. It's a 9 that comes down to a 3, a 9 that comes down to an 8 rather. A 3 would be wishful thinking. Yeah, she missed. Wow, that's bad. And her sneak's gone now as well. She has exposed herself, and because she attacked the matron is very angry. So the matron rolled for attack on the eye matrix, has come forward just enough that the Briton Ranger is within 8 inches of her ranged attack. She rolls the same, but her chance to hit is better. She's basically the same stat, well, increased stats, but same abilities as a normal Spriggan. She has regenerate health, that's the only extra I believe. So on the assumption damage ever gets done to her, she'll be regenerating 1 at the top of each of her turns. Anywho, let's see if she lands the hit. Oh, she got a crit. Why do my poor adventurers have this happen to them every time? Okay, I need to check now if swords do anything better for her, or extra for her, rather. No, it still does poison, it's still 2-inch explosion area, it's still got the enchanted keyword. So, that's going to be tough to block. The Briton Ranger only rolls 1. Yep, she's only rolling 1 white, yellow die. She blocked 1, took 3, and has been murdered. Okay. Splat! Just a horde of bees just went inside every orifice and killed her from the inside out. It's just down to Kajaro and Lydia in terms of activations, because all the enemies have activated. Kajaro sprinted and reapplied his block token, moving up there. He's just going straight for the matron and hoping for the best. So unlike in the video game, poison is an absolute beast in the tabletop game because the tokens don't disappear. So Lydia is just going to die soon. She's got 3 health, so she took, well, she has 2 damage now because when she activated, the poison hurt her. So she's just trying to take out a Spriggan before she goes, or at least falls to her knees. She won't necessarily immediately die, but it's not looking great. And she's getting an outnumbered bonus in the form of an extra green die. She's taking a green die as her bonus for spending 1 stamina for a precision strike. And that orcish sword of hers lets her roll 2 red. So with that, she is rolling against a 4. And please actually land a hit. A 6 comes down by a 3, so it does hit. No extra symbols, but that's 4 damage versus armor rating of red, so it mostly can block 3, so it can't save itself. It did actually block 3, so wow, it came close. But she was able to actually take out a Spriggan. The hilarious part is, however, that's the end of the turn, so I'm pretty sure that Spriggan's coming right back. It will come back very far away, but it's going to come back. I keep hoping that I've misunderstood the poison rules and I'm just missing the part where it says, like, once the damage is applied, the token goes away. It absolutely does not say that. I've got the old version of the rulebook. I don't know if in the reworked version they changed that at all, but poison is ridiculously OP. And unfortunately didn't anticipate that going against Spriggan, so up to 2 enemies would have respawned there. So, yep, that Spriggan is coming back, but from the table edge furthest from any of my troops, so it hopefully won't be immediately a new problem. As we begin round 3 of a potential 5, let's just say I don't think this is going to make it to the 5. Kajaro activated because if either of the other two activate, they just die, so they might as well not and take a hit. So he spent 1 stamina to get enough distance to get into close combat with the matron, and then is spending another on a precision strike because normally he's just rolling a single red die with nothing else for that steel mace. Not as good as I thought it was. I think it does something extra on helmets or swords. Either way, he is hitting on 4s. I really would love a crit here. A crit would go nice. Oh! He actually did roll a crit. And he hit. So there we go. How about, let's see how far I can push this. How about a 3 on this? Oh, okay. I'm getting everything I want today apparently now. Does the Oblivion Gate do anything? Nope, purely the helmet. Matrons roll red for their defense. How about a 0? I don't think, no, a 0 is impossible in this. How about a 1? She got a 1. Let me just make sure the Oblivion Gate doesn't do anything for her. It does not. That's 3 damage to the matron, who has 5 health. That's pretty good. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone else is going to get a hit. So she's definitely going to regenerate. And she gets to do a reaction now as well. But good effort. So it's right back to the matron. However, regenerate health actually kicks in at the end of the round. Sorry, not when they activate. So she's not healing 1 right now, but she will. And she's rolling green plus red for her melee attack, with poison on a helmet and an extra yellow die on swords, hitting on a 4. I'm going to keep pushing that luck I suddenly got out of nowhere and say, how about you miss? How about you get a crit fail? Close. 8 comes down by 3, which is a 5. So she actually did miss. Wasn't a crit fail, but I'll certainly take it. Of the 2 Spriggans, this one has randomized, rolled for Path of Shadow, and it wants to move. I'm just going to interpret that as engage at range, because just moving it, I know we're doing badly, but that just feels like a cop-out. So, ranged attack, seen it a few times now, on Lydia, and if it does double her health, come on, if it does double her health, her endurance test to stay on the field is going to be very nerfed, and that is more than double her health. Does the Oblivion Gate do anything? Nope, it is not doing anything. Comes down to her armor. She does not have a block token anymore. Her armor is 1 yellow die, so that's not going to be good enough. Yep, she takes enough that she's definitely going down. But because she took more than double her remaining health, that's a +2 negative to the endurance test. Because normally her endurance test would be 4. So 2. She's basically got to get a 2, a 1, 2 or 1 or a crit. She actually got a crit with a potion. Does that apply on an endurance test? I wonder. We so rarely get the potion result on the crit, which is just you get to heal one of the stats you need. So I guess I'm allowed to heal? When she goes down, the poison goes away. She passed the endurance test, which would mean she's kind of like, she's on the ground, she's trying to recover. But then does this, I'm going to have to go see if the rules cover getting that potion to see if I can immediately heal her out of her incapacitated state. Okay, it turns out the rules sort of cover it in the sense that it does tell you what to do if you get a crit, which we did for the endurance test. If the dice rolls a crit icon, the model remains in play with 1 health remaining, but is staggered. So stagger is going to happen either way, which reduces the number of things she's allowed to do, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it says she remains in play in 1 health. I don't know if that means the poison remains in play. I'm going to choose to believe that it doesn't, but I don't know for sure. But because she remains in play and is on her feet, or even if she didn't, as long as she passed the test, I presume you still get the bonus heal off of that potion. So rather than only having 1 health remaining, she is going to have 2 health remaining. Now, it's probably immediately going to go anyway when the other Spriggan activates, unless it goes aggressively against the Orc. But that's how we're going to run it. I hope it's at least close to correct. Apologies if it isn't. So I'm activating Lydia to avoid the Orc Barbarian dying, and because she's class staggered, she can't use any buffs from her stamina, or boosts rather, and if anyone had attacked her, they would get a -2 to what they required, so it's easier to hit her. But when she enters activation, it goes away. So she's going into combat with the Spriggan that hasn't activated yet. Well, the one that hasn't been respawned at least. Can't roll any extra dice, so it's just 2 red dice. But hey, that could potentially do a bunch of damage. She just needs to pass the skill roll part, which is the tricky thing. And she's going for it. And it's the first crit fail of the game. So unfortunate. Well, that means that the Spriggan triggers a reaction, and then the one that respawned at the top of the table is going to go. We might as well just roll that now, because he's locked in combat, so he's just going to swing. And that is 1 green, 2 yellow, because that's just their favourite rolling combination for these things, apparently. So, 2 crit fails in a row. You know what? I'll accept that. That is perfectly fine. I'll accept that, because even with the -2, which she technically wouldn't have had because her activation had ended, so that went away. That was a reaction. And yeah, okay, fine. Just swing and miss each other over and over. So now the Spriggan at the top end of the table is going to just sprint in towards Kajaro. And you can see up yonder where that Spriggan ended up. It respawned right up in the top corner of the table. And unfortunately, that's everyone who can activate activated. I forgot to put one next to Kajaro, but obviously he activated. So at the end of the round, the Matron is healing 1 and it's down to 2 damage again. And the Orc Barbarian, who I presume I have to activate, although even if I don't, there's not really anything saving him. He activates the poison procs, and he's just a puny follower, so he doesn't get to do an endurance test. He is just out of there. So it's just down to the 2 heroes. There's no dead Spriggans, so this is just for show really, but hey, it helps me keep track of where turn breaks are when I'm editing this. 2 would have come back, but as I say, we're not doing so well with the old killing this time. So, yep, on to turn 3, no sorry, turn 4, so the penultimate turn, and it's all down to Kajaro really, because Lydia's not going to be able to help. So the start of the penultimate round, I am of course activating Kajaro. He's got to try and do something with that red die and nothing else, although I am spending an extra stamina to do a power strike, which also means if we do some damage to the Matron we can potentially stagger it. So sure, why not? Let's try and roll, and it's all down to this. It hits, and it actually hits pretty well. That's 4 damage. Does the helmet add anything for Kajaro's mace? It does stagger. Well, that's what I was trying to do anyway, so thanks for that, I guess. And defense roll is a red die for the Matron. We want a 1 here. She actually only blocked 1. Does the Oblivion Gate do anything? Oh, it doesn't. That is 2 damage. Oh, that means she's alive on 1 though. Yep, she's alive on 1. Is there anything I could have done to change that? No, because she's blocked the 1 there. She's... okay, so that's 2 more damage. She's got 1 left. But she's also staggered, which might help. I'm not sure how, but it might. As long as Kajaro lives here, there is a chance that he'll do... well, it would have to be 2 damage. I don't know if Lydia can get over there. If she's willing to let the Spriggan attack her to disengage, maybe? We'll see, we'll see. Anyway, the Matron is attacking him. Let's see what happens. It's a hit, for sure. Cross swords do... oh, they had a yellow die. Oh dear, that's 2 extra damage. So that's a total of 3 damage coming in on Kajaro. His armour is giving him a red plus a yellow though. If he gets a helmet, he gets another yellow. He fully blocked the damage. He is hanging in there like a trooper. I just wish his weapon was a little bit better. I didn't realise the steel mace was kind of not great. But hey, at the end of the Matron's turn, her stagger goes away. Well, it wasn't even really her turn. That was a reaction. But either way, now one of the Spriggans, randomly selected, will activate. Well, of course it was the Spriggan up at the top of the table that got randomly activated, so it's joined its Matron and is trying to murder poor Kajaro, which means we have an extra green die for outnumbered bonus. Oh dear. Probably going to hit then. 8 coming down by 4 is a hit. It's only 1 damage with a helmet though, which I keep forgetting whether it does anything. Yep, that does the poison, which will not go through if he blocks. and he's blocking pretty well. The steel armor at least is good for that. He fully blocked it, so I think I've been playing it, the poison doesn't go through if no damage is dealt, so that's how we're going to carry on. Kajaro is MVP. So Lydia is going to activate, and I'm going to have her do a withdrawal, which means that the Spriggan gets to attack her freely and can't boost or anything like that. It's just a free attack against her. She's not allowed to use a withdraw action to engage with a fresh target, sadly. It's hitting for 1 damage, but it might mean that she can help take out the matron in the final turn and gets in kind of like a Pyrrhic victory. So she fully blocked the damage. It did not get through, so she has to stop a ½ inch away from any other enemy, so she's going to be roughly there-ish. I want her out of 6 inches of ideally both of these. Actually, I'm going to have to do some precise measuring to see if I can avoid either of them getting a reaction. Sadly not. It's like the perfect triforce here of not getting away in a single move from both. So I've moved her around this side of the rock. Her other action is going to be to throw a block, and that means this Spriggan is going to do a reaction against her, and then this one is the final set activation for the point limit. So they're both going to get to go, and we'll just see what they do. In fact, let's just do it now. We'll start with we have to start with the reaction. So it is helmet. Path of Shadow's helmet is objective. Well, the objective is saving the matron, which I guess involves murdering Lydia. So actually, in that situation, would she? No, actually, I think she would go after Kajaro, because I'm pretty sure 9 inches is enough. It is. Never mind. You've been doing really well, Kajaro. Can you withstand one more attack? Let's see. Right here. Oh, with an extra green for outnumber bonus. It's a crit fail. Kajaro is hanging in there. He is a trooper. And then let's re-roll, or rather roll for the final Spriggan, who would be the set activation, because that would be a... Oops, I just threw away that icon. A reaction there. Cross swords, Path of Shadow is attack. Lydia is the closest target, and you know, I guess technically he would lock her in combat, which means it really is just down to Kajaro. So unfortunately, so same dice again, just 1 green one, because even if she does a withdraw again, she's not going to be able to attack the matron. That is a 6, it comes down by 1, so that Spriggan missed. That is fantastic news. That's a very quick round, though. It is entirely finished now. So as we go into the final round, it really only comes down to what can Kajaro do. The matron heals 1, so she's got 2 health left, not 1 health, and there's no dead. But hey, that would have been a total of 3 respawns. That's pretty scary. But shame we couldn't kill anything. That was a big problem. So, oh well, on to the final round and the one important activation. So here it is, the 5th and final round, and it's just Kajaro doing what he can, and I'm opting again to spend the 1 stamina on a power attack, not because the stagger is meaning anything really, it's more so just he has to do maximum damage. It's because the matron rolls a red die for defense, so it really does just come down to that, and there's nothing else he can do, so he's only allowed to swing once. It's this versus Fate. What does Fate say? Fate spits in his face. Even if that had hit, I don't think it would. Well, actually, is there a -1 on that die? Just in case the Oblivion Gate does anything. It does not. Nope, just helmet for stagger. So, Fate has spat in the poor Khajiit's face, and he will now be swarmed by 3 people and murdered, because all of them get to react now. Like, literally all of them do. Although the one engaged with Lydia will obviously try and kill her. But, hey, let's see if they just get wiped out, I guess. So, sure. There's going to be a lot of dice rolled here, over here. Let's start with the hard hit from the matron. So that is a green and a red, plus a green for outnumbered bonus on force. And that is a hit for poison, plus 1 damage, although Kajaro's armor is decent, so he'll probably block that. Steel armor, as it turns out, is pretty good. Yeah, he fully blocks it. Then we've got 2 of the normal Spriggans activating against him, so that's 2 green, 2 yellow, twice. I'm amazed at his tankiness, so that said, that's a lot of damage. So that is 3 damage. He fully blocked it by rolling 5. And then the other Spriggan that's engaged with him is a crit fail, and then take away a green die because the one activating against Lydia is on its lonesome. actually whiffed as well, because that's a 5. So, yeah, that sucks. It comes down to Lydia's activation. She can't, technically. Like, even with the withdrawal, she isn't allowed to re-engage an enemy. Just for funsies, because it's over. We can't win because it's the final turn. Let's let her get hit one more time, so that she can bounce away over here and just take a swing at the matron just to see if she can do it. So we'll start with the reactionary hit against her trying to flee with a withdrawal. That is a 3. It hits for 1 damage. That should be blockable, Lydia. Let's see. Yep, okay, she blocked it. She gets into combat with the matron. She's getting a outnumbered bonus, and she's rolling 2 red. Yeah, she should have been the one to push in, rolling 2 red against the matron. That's really good. And she actually critted and got a heal. Yeah, Lydia, where were you when you were needed? Because it's impossible for the matron to block enough to live in that situation. But such as the game's rules are, you're not allowed to disengage from one model and engage with another using that withdrawal. So sadly that attack couldn't have happened. But if it had, they would have won. So just very unlucky there. Another thorough thrashing there at the hands of the wildlife of Tamriel, much like the spiders last time. Although that one was pretty close at the end, I think. And again, this one was kind of close. If we'd gone for one more turn, Lydia could have helped. But getting stuck in that cycle of constantly getting engaged by the enemies, like, yeah, I could say, oh no, maybe I attacked by range this time just to let me off easy. But if you roll attack on the AI matrix, I feel like they go full aggressive. And for monsters, the target priority order is nearest, largest, and most dangerous. So I feel like that was followed. So yeah, it's very rough. Losing the 2 followers to poison was something I hadn't accounted for. If I have missed something about poison counters going away once they hurt you, by all means please point me to a page number and tell me if it's the new rulebook or the the reshuffled new rulebook or the old one, because it's the old one I've got. So do let me know about that. But yeah, it's always a rough time. Like, every time I make sure the adversaries are a lesser septum value rather than a greater one like you're supposed to, and they still just walk all over no matter what faction I'm using, which is rough. Clearly I need assistance with my hero building. Definitely learned Steel Mace, not that great. Steel Armor, fantastic. And the Steel Shield is pretty good too. The Orcish Sword, really great if you're going full damage, so if you're using someone who has a 4 or better chance to hit, absolutely, that's really good. But Spriggans in general, very dangerous, especially in numbers. So they have won today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do remember to show your support by liking or commenting. And if you can go above and beyond to support the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you became a channel member, press the thanks button, or checked out the channel sponsor. Enjoy the rest of your day, and see you next time. Ta-ta for now.